All right. Okay, looks like we are live. Um, okay, so we're doing this an early morning stream because the truck race is on Friday, and I work until 8 p.m. So um, the best time for me to do this is will be just this morning. So, anyways, we had a cup race on Sunday. Cup race at Martinsville. Um, and it really left me with a certain taste in my mouth. Not necessarily of the good kind, but um, let's just talk about it. Yeah, let's just get right into it. So, let's see here. This was the first Martinsville race with a new short track package. This was like the true test for the package when people think of like the true test for the package, because when people think of the short track racing in the Gen 7, they think mainly of how bad and underwhelming the Martinsville races have been. Anyways, the festivities this past weekend, they were centered around Hendrick Motorsports' 40th anniversary, as this was the site of their first ever win with Jeff Bodine. All four of their cars showed up with ruby red paint schemes too, and the broadcast also, they made sure to mention Hendrick every chance they got, to the point that it got a little bit overbearing, like ad nauseum. I can imagine some people got really annoyed over that. Um, oh, shit, I forgot to mute my phone there. I'm sorry. Don't know why I keep forgetting that. So, unfortunately, the man himself, Rick Hendrick, he wasn't in attendance due to some knee replacement surgery. But then again, he wasn't present when the team won their first ever race 40 years ago. So it might just be a good omen for them. Just saying. It still sucked though, as he was gonna be the pace car driver for the race, but at least Jeff Gordon and Jeff Bodine himself, they were in attendance, and they also gave the command too in place of Rick Hendrick, so it all worked out in the end. So, speaking of Hendrick, Kyle Larson was on the pole, snagging the pole by just 1,000th of a second over Bubba Wallace. Uh, yeah, those two cannot keep staying off of each other. I know NASCAR is like they're trying to push a rivalry between Larson and Bubba Wallace, but because of recent run-ins, especially since next week's race is at Texas, and the last time we were at Texas, it ended with those two tangling while battling for the lead. But no, those two of them are friendly terms. NASCAR is just trying to push a narrative that just doesn't exist. Anyways, Bubba Wallace in second, Chase Elliott third, Martin Truex in fourth, then Chase Briscoe in fifth, Joey Logano sixth, Josh Berry seventh, Denny Hamlin eighth, Ryan Blaney ninth, and Alex Bowman rounding out the top 10. Going down the rest of the field, we have Kyle Busch in 11th, Ross Chastain in 12th, then Todd Gilliland 16th, William Byron in 18th, Christopher Bell 20th, Ryan Preece 22nd, Noah Gragson 26th, Austin Dillon in 28th. This is his first race with Justin Alexander back as his crew chief, replacing Keith Roden. I gotta say, I don't really understand why Richard Childress Racing, they keep doing this. Like to the 3 team. I mean, I know Austin Dillon, he's not like the best NASCAR driver in the world, but most of his success, or basically all of his meaningful success, he's found it with Justin Alexander as his crew chief. So I don't know why they keep doing the switch from, they tried the Denny Stockman reunion that didn't go well. Now they tried with Keith Roden, and anyone that rooted for Casey Kane, all of the Casey Kane fans, they're going to tell you that Keith Roden was a terrible crew chief. So, so I don't know why they keep like going back and forth between Justin Alexander and some other crew chief. Just make him Austin Dillon's full-time crew chief and be done with it, because he is the best chance because with Justin Alexander, this is the best chance Austin Dillon has to, at the very least, be competitive or steal a win away. So, but again, that's just my 2 cents. Chris Buescher 30th, Josh Williams 33rd, Michael McDowell 35th, Daniel Hembrick 36th, and finally David Starr 37th, racing the MBM 66 car once again. They're making their second start of the year. Their first start was obviously the one at Coda. So the race starts, and stage 1, it's fairly quiet overall, especially up front. Just Larson catches lap traffic at around lap 20 though, but he's in no threat from Bubba taking the lead away for him to be worried. There are some big movers through the field though. The most notable was William Byron, who made his way up to 9th by lap 50 after starting 18th. Also, some drivers that dropped through the field, most notably Ryan Blaney. He dropped to 12th in the opening laps after struggling with his car a little bit. But other than that, stage 1 was honestly completely tame. Just complete domination from Larson as he cruised to the stage win despite a late charge from Bubba Wallace in the closing laps. Bubba obviously has to settle for second. Chase Elliott in third, Chase Briscoe fourth, Martin Truex in fifth, then Logano sixth, Hamlin 7th, William Byron 8th, Josh Berry 9th, and Kyle Busch 10th. So everyone pits on pit road, and we got some strategy on this stage break as Joey Logano takes 2 tires and wins the race of pit road. Todd Gilliland also is on the same strategy. I believe he took fuel only. Maybe he took fuel only, but he gained 10 spots. But he came out with the wrench still attached to the rear window, so he got to come back down pit road so his team could remove it. Stenhouse just had a terrible sequence. He got spun out by Chase Elliott entering his pit stall, and he also got a speeding penalty on top of that. And Ryan Blaney also pitted again. He was just struggling mightily with his car today. So we go to stage 2, and because Martinsville is Martinsville, Logano manages to defend his track position and hold the lead thanks to a good restart, and also thanks to him being the leader. Also, Bubba Wallace helping him clear Larson on the start. Larson might have spun his tires too, but the 5 car, he drops to 4th on the restart after getting freight trained by just Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin. Then a caution comes out with Christopher Bell losing a lock nut on the right front. He was running 21st at the time. He washes up the track. He does not hit anything, and better yet, the wheel is wedged in the fender and does not come out on the track. So the 20 team, they avoid penalties and a big suspension with that lucky break. The caution still comes out due to the lock nut sitting as debris, and Bell falls several laps down too after his team, they try to work the issue out on pit road and they try to get the wheel on stock. But if you ask me, I'd rather have a wheel on stock than just having it come off on the track, because then that would be a penalty and it would be way worse for my team in the long run. So yeah, it's bad, but it could have been a lot worse. So anyways, we go on the restart. Logano still leads, with Bubba Wallace still holding second over Hamlin. Behind them, however, the 4 HMS cars, they are 4, 5, 6, and 7. With Larson 4th, leading the charge, then followed by Chase Elliott in 5th, Alex Bowman 6th, and William Byron 7th. From there, that's basically all the action that we would get for a while. Stage 2 went green the rest of the way, although the top 7, they are bunched up in the closing laps due to Logano struggling to get by Austin Dillon to lap him. And this causes Logano to start wearing his tires out a little bit. This eventually allows Hamlin to get by Bubba Wallace for second and proceed to challenge Logano for the lead, which he eventually gets with 10 laps to go in the stage. And as soon as Logano loses the lead, he starts to drop through the field. His left side tires are shot now. Yeah, because he only changed right sides only, so his left side tires were completely shot. And he was just struggling to make it to the end of the stage. All the while, however, Hamlin just cruised to the stage 2 win up front. Bubba Wallace managed to get second, Kyle Larson third, Chase Elliott fourth. Logano managed to hold on to fifth at the end of the stage, with Alex Bowman sixth, Chase Briscoe seventh, William Byron eighth, Ross Chastain ninth, and Josh Berry 10th. Once again, we go to pit road. Everyone pits once again, with Hamlin winning the race off pit road over Chase Elliott and Bubba Wallace. Logano drops to 7th after getting hit coming out of his pit box, and Blaney gains 12 spots and comes out in 8th after taking 2 tires. Suarez gets penalized for speeding, and Carson Hocevar also got penalized for equipment interference, but upon further review, the penalty was rescinded. So only the Suarez penalty stood on this pit sequence. So we go to stage 3, and on the restart, Chase Elliott has a great launch, and he takes the lead from Hamlin on the outside. It looks like Hamlin launched a bit late on the restart, and that cost him the lead. Maybe probably he didn't want to, jump the restart again, just saying. But yeah, that ended up costing him the lead. Then a caution comes out with Christopher Bell spinning in turn 4 after getting loose. And we got some strategy on pit road, because Martin Truex Jr., Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, Keselowski, Daniel Hemrick, Josh Williams, Grala, and Daniel Suarez, they pitted, while the leaders stayed out. Then we go to another restart. Chase Elliott continues to lead on this one, with Denny Hamlin in second and Bubba Wallace in third. As the run goes on, though, the 9 car starts struggling with lap traffic, allowing Hamlin to catch him and pass him for the lead after battling with them for about 10 laps, and he immediately starts pulling away. All the while, the Hendrick cars are all in the top 6, though. Even after losing the lead, Chase Elliott's still second, and then Larson is in 4th, Byron is in 5th, Bowman is in 6th. This green flag run goes long enough to the point that everyone needs to make one more pit stop. So the cycle begins at lap 300, with William Byron starting the cycle, being the first to pit. And this forces the rest of the top 5 down pit road, with Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson, and eventually the leader Denny Hamlin, as well as everyone else. We only had one penalty in this cycle, only Josh Berry with an uncontrolled tire. And coming off pit road, Chase Elliott, he cycles back in front of Hamlin. And not only him, but Byron and Larson also get by Hamlin shortly after cycling back into the race. It's like all of the Hendrick cars, they all came to life after that last pit cycle. And then William Byron, he goes a step further. Not only does he passes Hamlin, he also passes Chase Elliott to become the highest running car among those who pitted. And I'm saying that because some guys stayed out and they are leading. Right now they are leading over Byron. Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, Martin Truex, Noah Gragson, Ty Gibbs, Kaz Grala, Brad Keselowski, and Michael McDowell. Those guys had yet to pit. All of them eventually pit. They start coming down pit road one by one, with the exception of Daniel Suarez and Martin Truex, who they stay out trying to stretch out the fuel, hoping a caution comes out, which again, unfortunately doesn't happen. At least not at the moment they would have wanted to, because a caution does eventually come out. And they eventually end up losing the top 2 spots on the track to the guys who pitted. By the time both Suarez and Truex pitted on around lap 340, they are both running at the tail end of the top 10. They stayed out way too long. And because Martinsville is a track where tires don't matter as much and track position matters more, you're not going to be able to make up that ground. So they both, Suarez, I know Suarez made it back to outside the top 20. I believe, now that I think about it, I believe they both made it back outside the top 20. And they weren't able to recover much ground. I know they finished around like a lap down, or something like that. So unfortunately, that was just terrible strategy from the 99 and the 19. So Byron assumes the lead in the end, with Chase Elliott second and Larson third. So we got Hendrick Motorsports running 1, 2, 3 with Alex Bowman in 7th. And as the laps went down, all is well. It looks like the race will end with little drama, with William Byron with a 3-second lead over Chase Elliott, when all of a sudden a caution comes out, with John Hunter Nemechek blowing a right front tire and smacking the wall. He even wall rides for a bit, like, Chastain, take a look at what he did and stuff like that. But yeah, the car was smoking, the brake rotor was on fire. This sends the race into overtime as the caution came out with 3 laps to go. And, don't let this distract you from the fact that it was a Legacy Motor Club car that caused the late caution. A car owned by Jimmy Johnson prevented a Hendrick Motorsports 1-2-3 at Martinsville in their 40th anniversary race. That's just funny and ironic. So after having 0 overtimes in the first 6 races of the season, the last 2 races, that is Richmond and Martinsville, they have both ended in overtime. So the leaders stay out, predictably enough. The only exception are Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, and Ryan Preece. And my question is why? Again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Martinsville, with this Gen 7 car, with this tire setup, even with this new short track package, it's a track where track position matters a lot. Why would you bother pitting for tires with 2 laps to go? I don't understand. So the race restarts. Chase Elliott, he tries to challenge William Byron for the lead, to no avail. So he and Larson instead decide to play defense and secure the 1-2-3 for Hendrick Motorsports, which they eventually do. With Byron crossing the finish line, Larson in second, and Chase Elliott just barely beating Bubba Wallace to the line to finish third and secure the 1-2-3. This is the first time ever in the Cup Series, obviously, that a team finishes 1-2-3 at Martinsville in a Cup race, with none other than William Byron leading the way, the hottest driver in NASCAR for the past 2 seasons, and overall, this is now his 11th win with the Gen 7 car, the most of all drivers since 2022. It's not a stretch to consider him the best driver in this new generation of car. It's not a stretch. Again, he is the winningest driver in the Gen 7 era, and this is also his 3rd win in the first 8 races. Like, in the Gen 7 era, he has become the fastest driver by far to win 3 races. Because for 2022, if you go back for the past 2 seasons, 2022, we had to wait until, I believe it was Atlanta, the July race at Atlanta, to see a driver to see the first driver with 3 wins on the season. That was Chase Elliott. And then last year, 2023, it was Darlington in May, and it was, fittingly enough, it was William Byron who was the first driver to reach 3 wins in the season. Now this time, Byron does it again, but now in the first 8 races. And this is including the Daytona 500. And this also coming off a season where he won 6 races and was the best driver that season overall. I'm just saying, we might just be witnessing the rise of the next big NASCAR superstar. And he happens to be another Hendrick driver. Go figure. I don't understand how Hendrick just keeps coming across these drivers with tons of potential. There must be some. He has a great eye for talent. That's just saying. And again, just like I said, Hendrick, Mr. H, he was not in the race, and they still managed to win. Just like how they won their first race at Martinsville when Hendrick was not present. Go figure. I know people are gonna say, yeah, it's rigged for Hendrick. Like, bro, haven't you just realized maybe Hendrick is just too good? Like, how can you just look at everything that Hendrick Motorsports has done in the last 40 years and say that, yeah, it's just rigged? No, bro. Just stop it. Stop it. And also, if there was still any doubt, William Byron has now officially surpassed Chase Elliott as Hendrick's 2nd best driver. Elliott is now the 3rd guy. I know for a moment I thought he could fall down to like the 4th wheel because he hadn't scored any top 5s in the first 6 races. while Bowman had scored 3 top 5s already. But he has responded with back-to-back top 5 since then. And this Martinsville race was also the first race in a long time that he showed race winning speed. So Chase Elliott is no longer the fourth wheel. So Chase Elliott, he's not the fourth wheel at the moment, but he has fallen down to third wheel behind Byron. Larson is still number 1, but again, William Byron, he is creeping out to take that mantle too. Right now, he's a very close second. If he has another great season like he did last year, where he like leads all drivers in wins, then yeah, we're gonna start to have a conversation. We're gonna start to have a conversation not only on who the best Hendrick driver is, but also who the best NASCAR driver is right now. Because right now, I still got Larson as the best NASCAR driver, as my number 1. If William Byron becomes Hendrick's new number 1, if he and Larson are teammates, then by extension, that also means that Byron is going to become, is going to have to be the number 1 NASCAR driver. So, again, I'm just saying, if William Byron keeps this up, we are going to start a conversation, a very uncomfortable conversation, depending on which fan you are, on who you are a fan of, but it's gonna be a very interesting debate. Also, I find it really funny how all of at least 3 of Byron's last 4 career wins, they have been milestone wins, because his win at Texas last year, it was Hendrick's 300th win. Then there was his Daytona 500 win, which was on the day of Hendrick's 40th anniversary race. And then on the weekend that Hendrick celebrates their first win, at Martinsville, Byron also wins the race, and they do it in like 1, 2, 3 fashion with those ruby red schemes. So yeah, 3 of the last 4 of William Byron's career wins, they have come attached with some sort of milestone. So again, if there is a milestone win on the line for Rick Hendrick, if there's a milestone on the line for Hendrick Motorsports, you can expect William Byron to deliver. I'm just saying. So, enough talking about Hendrick Motorsports. Let's go over the rest of the field here. Bubba Wallace finished 4th. Again, like I said, he came very close to breaking up the HMS 1-2-3, but Elliott beat him to the line by a nose. He was the highest finishing Toyota, though. I guess you could make an argument that he was better than Hamlin overall, because he stayed in the top 5 basically all race long. Ryan Blaney finished 5th, Joe Logano 6th, Tyler Reddick 7th. Finally a good Martinsville race for him, because if you guys didn't know, Martinsville is Tyler Reddick's worst track. Alex Bowman 8th. So yeah, all 4 HMS cars, they finished in the top 8. Ryan Preece 9th and Chase Briscoe 10th. Then Denny Hamlin finished 11th. Again, I still don't know why he pitted. He threw away what was a sure top 5 and also a top 10 for him. Then Eric Jones in 12th, Todd Gilliland 13th, Ross Chastain 14th, Chris Buescher 15th, Kyle Busch 16th, Carson Hocevar 17th, then Martin Truex Jr. 18th, Noah Gragson 20th, Austin Cindric 23rd, and Brad Keselowski 24th. These 2 got together coming to the white flag. There was no caution came out, but there was significant damage to both of them. I'm mentioning this because, of course, Fox made 0 mention of it in the moment. I do believe Austin Cindric, he mentioned getting some contact from another car. I honestly don't know who it was, though. The only replay I saw was Cindric and Keselowski just getting together. It was from their onboard cameras. But then again, Fox once again did not. Fox once again just missed the incident because they were busy watching, Hendrick Motorsports up front. Okay. Let me check here. Okay, I just want to see curiosity because Martin Truex finished 18th. I want to see where Daniel Suarez finished. Because they were on this like weird strategy of staying out for too long, which ended up hurting them in the end. So I want to see where Suarez finished real quick. Also, okay, so he finished 22nd. Okay, so not good. Okay, Josh Berry finished 25th. He was running top 10 until that uncontrolled tire penalty in his final stop. Really tough. Really tough break because, in my opinion, he was like the second best Tourhouse racing car, and now he has nothing to show for it other than a top 25 and a couple of stage points. Let's see, Josh Williams 27th, Austin Dillon 34th, Christopher Bell 35th, John Hunter Nemechek 36th, David Starr 37th. Honestly, for Martinsville standards, the racing was a bit better than previous Martinsville Cup races. There was a bit more passing for the lead than usual and more action up front. But still, again, there's still a lot of work left to do. And by that I mean it should be apparent at this point that the only fix for short tracks is more horsepower. I know this is a hot topic in the garage since NASCAR has been against big horsepower in an effort to cut costs and make the sport more appealing to a potential fourth manufacturer. But as Denny Hamlin pointed out, there is no longer a financial issue when it comes to increasing horsepower. So that myth of racing horsepower will be more expensive, that myth has been debunked. It has been thrown out the window. So there is no excuse anymore. Yet NASCAR is not listening to their drivers. They're not listening to the I'm gonna give this rate. Honestly, I was thinking of giving it a C+, but after putting some thought into it, I decided I'm gonna give it a C. Just a C. I'm just gonna give it a C. Like I said, this race was better than the usual Martinsville races that we usually see. But then again, for that is for Martinsville standards. For normal NASCAR racing standards, the racing was not good. I'm just saying it, like, for Martinsville standards it was good, for NASCAR standards it was not good. I'm giving this race a C. That being said, I still stand by the opinion that both Cup races at Martinsville should be 500 laps long. You know, this might sound contrarian considering that my opinion of Martinsville has lowered over the years. But then again, I don't care that this race was underwhelming. Martinsville being 400 laps long just doesn't feel right. I don't like this trend of NASCAR, you know, shortening races. Yes, I know some races, they need to be shortened. For example, Atlanta, after it was reconfigured, it didn't need to be 500 laps anymore. Texas, again, Texas races have always been 500 laps long, but again, after the reconfiguration, Texas has been so underwhelming that 400 laps long on the 400-mile Texas race, honestly, that doesn't bother me anymore. What really bothers me are the Martinsville races being 400 laps long. It just doesn't feel right. These races are like pseudo crown jewel events, like not really crown jewel races like the Daytona 500 or Coca-Cola 600 or Southern 500, but they're like in that second tier of crown jewel races and prestige, like the Bristol Night Race, in that they are not true crown jewels, but they should still be fixtures on the NASCAR schedule. Like every time you think of the Bristol Night Race, you think of 500 lap races under the lights. When you think of Martinsville races, you should also think of 2 races a year, both of them being 500 laps. Same thing with Bristol. Both Bristol races should be 500 laps long. On concrete, of course. But again, I'm just giving out my 2 cents on all this, on the whole Martinsville situation. As for my driver of the day, I have a couple of candidates for driver of the day. Obviously, Chase Elliott. This was the first race in a long time he showed actual race winning speed. I'm gonna go with Bubba Wallace though, because he stayed in the top 5 pretty much the entire race. No mistakes or on pit road or on the track. Just great execution overall, not only for him, but also his teammates. Like, this was one of, if not the best race I have seen out of Bubba Wallace from start to finish. He put a complete race together. That's what I'm trying to say. He put a complete race together, and the more he races like this, the more races he puts together like this, the more likely he's gonna be able to lock himself into the playoffs on points before the season finale, the regular season finale. Speaking of 2311, Tyler Reddick, I'm also giving him a honorable mention. He finally got a top 10 at arguably his worst track. 2311 had as good of a race as you could hope for. Both cars were fast, and they didn't make mistakes. Also, I do believe Reddick was one of the drivers that took 4 tires during that last overtime, during that final pit stop. Yeah, I do believe he managed to pick up some spots. That's how he was able to finish top 10. Yeah, for Tyler Reddick, that 4-tire pit stop makes sense because he was running like towards the tail end of the lead lap. It didn't make sense for Hamlin because he just ended up throwing a top 5 car away, a top 5 day away. You see, for Tyler Reddick, it makes sense. So, anyways, we're going to Texas next week, and I'm just so disappointed, so sad. Not because, we're going to Texas, but more so because people are actually looking forward to Texas more than Martinsville. They are considering Texas a better track than Martinsville in the Gen 7 era, and I don't know how to feel about this. People considering Texas a good track or a better track than I don't know, a short track. The fact that people are considering Texas a better track than the short tracks in the Gen 7 car, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right for me. Because Texas, even with the package, even with this new intermediate track package that has, increased the action, increased the product on intermediate tracks for the better, Texas has still been underwhelming. So I still don't understand where all of this good vibes over Texas is coming from all of a sudden. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see what this weekend has to offer. I'm gonna keep my expectations low because, again, like I said, it's Texas.